Hey guys, welcome to round 2 of Q&A. I am currently in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. I got here last night and I had access to Wi-Fi, so I decided now is the time to go ahead and answer some more of your questions. Thank you to everybody who has commented or asked questions or made suggestions of what you'd like to see on the trail. I really appreciate it. It's been encouraging reading all of your comments, especially through the tough times. With that said, also thank you so much to everybody who helped when everything was going on with sugar, whether it was prayers, thoughts, kind words, or those of you who donated to the fund. I really appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, Sugar did pass away. I was on my way home and she ended up passing away about 2 hours before I got there. But I came back to the trail with her collar on my pack and just been kind of, thinking about things out here on the trail and just been, kind of dealing with it out here. And she would have been 11 years old 2 days ago. So happy birthday, Sugar, up in heaven. But anyway, so I'll go ahead and get into the questions now. But I just wanted to tell y'all again, thank you so much for your support. It means a lot to me. Okay, so question number 1. I had a timber rattler take a shot at me between the Priest Shelter and Route 56, and that's in Virginia for those of you who are not familiar with that. Have you had any of these encounters? I had my 3, 6, and 10-year-old boys with me. Wow. Well, I have not had a rattlesnake actually take a shot at me. I've only seen one. It was in Pennsylvania, and it was just a little ways up ahead on the trail. I saw it before I got too close for it to be dangerous. But I have heard about people being kind of struck at. And funny you mentioned the Priest Shelter, because when I was there was rattlesnake skin right by the priest sign, but I never did see any in Virginia. So, but I imagine your 3, 6, and 10-year-old boys, at least the 2 older ones, definitely probably learned a lesson from that experience. So good for you for taking them out and having them out on the trail. I think more and more kids are not experiencing this kind of things these days, so good for you. Question number 2, how has the trail changed you? Were you scared when you started the trail by yourself? What is your favorite part of the trail so far? How many weeks behind are your vlogs versus where you currently are? I love the insulate with a clip from next week. Keep on trekking, you are amazing. Well, thank you very much, I appreciate that. A lot of good questions here. So first, how has the trail changed me? I guess there are a few different ways. So just like mentally, I guess, I definitely feel like I will take things for granted less in the future. I always joke around about like the worst thing of all is getting in your tent at night and realizing you haven't brushed your teeth yet. And knowing you have to like get out of the tent, back on your sore feet, and then use the water that you filtered yourself for brushing your teeth. It seems like, to drink or to cook makes sense, but then to pour it to brush your teeth, it's just, I don't know. So having running water to be able to wash my hands, bathe, brush my teeth, that's something that I don't think I'll ever take for granted again. And I will never complain about getting into my bed at my house and having to get up and brush my teeth because I've forgotten. So stuff like that, just not taking all the luxuries of life for granted, just more of an appreciation for them for sure. As far as other things that I think that I'll be different about, one of the big ones, makeup and my hair, and just overall spending time on bathing. I know that sounds gross, but I mean, my skin is so much healthier when I don't bathe every day. I'm not washing the natural oils off, so probably won't, unless I'm just gross, might not take a shower every day. Well, at least not twice a day anymore. I know I was bad twice a day, but probably just once a day now. Definitely will not wash my hair every day. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I won't straighten it every day again. I won't blow dry it every day again. I used to, wake up, take a shower, blow dry my hair, straighten it. I just won't waste time with that anymore. I'll just do like I do now and just braid it, let it air dry and braid it. makeup, you know, when I first got on the trail, the first week I made myself go without a mirror. I was like, I don't even want to be looking in the mirror, you know, I'm out here on the trail, I don't need to be worried about silly things like that. But it's really hard, I guess probably more so for girls, and some girls maybe not, but for me, you know, I pretty much wore makeup every day, maybe not the weekends, but definitely to work. I just noticed, like, when I would go out to restaurants, when I would get to towns and stuff like that, I would feel different, you know, look at people that had makeup on and be like, oh gosh, I don't have any makeup on, I don't feel pretty or, you know, presentable to be in this restaurant. And now the only time I notice makeup and hairdos is when it's like too much, you know, just like makeup plastered all over people's faces. It just doesn't look natural to me anymore. It looks, I mean, it's not natural anyway, but it just, I think probably to work, maybe I'll still wear makeup, but I definitely will not worry about fixing up to go to Walmart ever again. So I'm really glad about that, though. You know, I was talking to one of the other girls, well, a few of the other girls that I've hiked with, Mayo and Cookie, and they both said, you know, when they first started, like, they cared more about that. And you know, now after 5 days of not having a bath, like, you know you're gross, but you look in the mirror and you're like, hey, I really don't look so bad for not fixing up for 5 days or being clean for 5 days. And then once you take a shower, you're like, oh girl, you look good. You know, it's your mindset totally changes on it. And I think all of us agree, you know, that like this is who we are. Like, we are just proud of it. So that's one thing that has definitely changed for me, and I'm glad, because I'm gonna waste a lot less time worrying about that. And I'm glad. So confidence, I've gotten more confidence. Some of my senses have changed. Hearing wise, not saying my hearing has improved, but especially like animals out in the woods, I can definitely tell the crashing sound of a bear versus like the frolicking of it, like a deer, you know, a snake crawling across the leaves, a chipmunk versus a squirrel. Like, you can hear things and you're automatically like, oh, I know what that is. You still look, but you're like, oh yeah, I was right, you know. So that's pretty neat. Smells, oh my gosh. So smells, totally hone in on different smells. It's crazy how much people are used to strong scents and they don't even realize it. When I went to DC for the 4th and then to New York City here recently, like, women just douse themselves with perfume, and it's just like, it'll take your breath away. And then when you get into a crowd and a bunch of different people have different scents on, like, I almost understand how a dog feels, like, just like, whew, you know, like everything's so, I don't know, it's just, so I can definitely pick up on that. You know, cleaning supplies and stuff are just like very strong, or something smells horrible. Well, I guess myself, I don't really notice myself as bad. I know that I still stink sometimes, but like it's just kind of blended in. But just being out in the woods, and the only thing you smell is like BO, you know, or the privy. But like the pines smell so good. Even that scent has gotten so strong to me that sometimes I'm like, it smells like pine sol, and I'm like, no, it's just actual pine trees that you're smelling. But so yeah, my senses as far as hearing and smelling, also being able to sense the change in weather. Like before a storm, I don't know, you can almost like feel the pressure change or something, and like the whole calm before the storm, like I understand what that means now. Like before it storms out in the woods, it's just like this crazy like calmness, you know, and then like the thunder might start in the distance, and then, you know, you feel that cool wind start coming in. It's just like you can hone in on that. You know, in town you might know it because like, oh, you've heard people talk about the weather's changing, or it's gonna rain for the next 3 days, or, you know, whatever. But like in the woods, you don't know any of that. You have no idea. You're out there for 3 to 7 days and you don't have a clue until you just feel it and you know it's coming. So I think that's kind of neat. And I guess those are the main things that I've noticed as far as things that have changed that I think will continue to be that way after the trail. I mean, the smells and stuff. I've heard some people can't stand like smells for forever. They don't ever want to wear perfume again. So I don't know. We'll see how that affects me. But yeah, those are the immediate things that I can think of. Okay, so were you scared when you started the trail by yourself? Well, if you look back at my first video at Amicalola, like It sounds like I'm about to cry. I was pretty nervous. It was something I wanted to do. I was sure I wanted to do. I was confident in doing it. But yes, I was very nervous. Very nervous. And even like the first night, you know, I laid there in the Springer Mountain shelter and I was like, is this, like, am I really going to be doing this for the next 6 months? It just felt strange. But now it just feels normal, like anything else. You know, when you start a new job or any new experience that you've never done, you know, it is a little nerve-wracking. But yeah, I'm totally happy now, and I would recommend, like, anybody, like, if I can start by myself, you can start by yourself. You can do it by yourself. You will meet friends. You will meet people. Like, you can do it alone. Don't be scared. Do it. Like, if you're sitting there right now like, oh, I'm gonna do it, but I don't have anyone to start with me, stop waiting for somebody else to start with you. Go do it. And it might even be better because you're by yourself. Trust me. Just go do it. And to continue this question, what is your favorite part of the trail so far? So there's no easy answer to these questions. These are deep. Okay, so my favorite views so far, I would say the day that I went to McAfee Knob and then over the Tinker Cliffs. Those views were just spectacular. And then even yesterday morning from the Riga shelter in Connecticut, the clouds like were settled down like over the peaks of the mountains, and that was like a beautiful view. The sunrise that I saw at the Pinnacle in Pennsylvania was amazing. So just some of those views that just take your breath away. So of course the beauty of the trail, right? That's one of my favorite things. But I really like it in the forest when it rains, because everything is much more vibrant and green, and like the little red F's come crawling out, the little newts, and just the critters you'll see running around and stuff. But so of course the beauty of the trail. Favorite towns, I liked Harper's Ferry. There was like a lot of history there. So I really enjoy history. I enjoy visiting these towns that maybe I wouldn't have before. You know, I mean, I'm sure there are people who are like, oh, let's go spend a week in Harper's Ferry, but you know, I don't know that I ever would have. So I'm really glad that the trail has led me through some of these historical places. I liked Hot Springs, North Carolina, because of course that's kind of when our little family really formed, and I miss them. You know, it was before we were all broken up. It was a good time. It was fun, and there are a lot of good memories there. And then just as far as like a cool little town that I enjoyed, Delaware Water Gap. There was like a jazz bar near, it's called the Deerhead Inn. It was near the church hostel where I stayed, that's donation based. So just for hikers, it's a good little town to go through. We've got an outfitter, but it's just a cute little town. I think if I'm ever near there again one day, I'll definitely stop in and enjoy visiting it again. The people are a big part of the trail. Even if you came out here to be alone, which is really what I did, you end up bonding with people. I mean, it's natural, you know, and you can get time alone out here. You have time alone to think. I like hiking alone a lot, the actual like hiking and thinking, and you know, allowing yourself to reboot, you know, from everything. And then at night, like socializing at camp. You know, I think a lot of us like to, what we say, hike together alone, because we end up at the same place, you know, to socialize at night and to wake up in the morning and eat breakfast and stuff, but like we hike alone during the day. So rebooting, I think, is a major part of the AT. You know, being away from the social media, being away from the ability to check the weather, you know, not having service. Like a lot of times you're like, no, but I want to talk to people back home, you know, but not having it makes you like just deal with like what's going on around you, like being in the present. And I think too many times, like, you know, my sisters are the worst. Like sitting there, you're having a conversation with them and suddenly they like make some silly face and they're like Snapchatting. I'm like, hello, like we're having a conversation here. So really engaging in conversation and not being, you know, 3 different places at once, like while you're sitting there talking to someone. So I think that's a great part of the trail. And the main thing is just like the overall challenge. You know, can you do this? Like, can you hike 2,189.2 miles? Like, can you do it? Like, yes, you can. Like, I can. I'm physically capable, but like the mental challenge, you know, is the biggest part. And like, I feel like everyone can. It's just like, do you make yourself? So just the overall challenge, I feel like, is a very important part of this, and probably my favorite part. Some days are great, and some days I just like, it's like you have a love-hate relationship with the trail. But I know that's a really not specific answer, but yeah, you asked a lot of good questions. So and then how many weeks behind are your vlogs versus where you currently are? So I think the last video that went up today was 4th of July in Washington, D.C. I was in Pennsylvania on the trail, and now I am currently in Massachusetts, and so what is today's date? August 17th. So yeah, so a little over a month, but Whitney's catching them up because she's posting 2 every week now. So, and then lastly, I love the end slate with clip from next week. That is all Whitney. Whitney is awesome at doing these little special effects on the video. So thank you again, Whitney, for everything that you do, and keep on trekking. You're amazing. So thank you. Those are awesome questions. Okay, so I am here at Amicalola State Park, and I am about to hike the approach trail. Just weighed my pack in and signed the